Hi everyone, my name is Courtney. I write under the pen names Lyra Parish and I'm one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. And today we're going to discuss me being a full-time author for 8 months. Where has the time gone? I have no idea. I'm just so shocked, I guess you could say. 8 months, that's a really long time, and I know that I say this every single month that it's just completely blown my mind, but it has. Like, it still doesn't feel real, and at this point, I'm not sure when it will ever feel real, or if this will just be how I feel all the time. Like, wow, my job is to write. This is so absolutely just... I came prepared with my notebook that came in my NaNoWriMo survival kit, and I made notes because I didn't want to forget anything, because I want to be able to look back at different points in my life and be like, oh wow, that's what we did that month, or that's what we accomplished, or that's what we were going through. Because as the years pass, it's really easy to forget the small details that are, you know, a big deal right now, but time makes you forget, and I don't want to forget the things that we're doing now. And I know this to be true because I look back at when I was working full-time and when we first launched Kennedy Fox. I wish I would have vlogged, and I wish I would have had some sort of documentation of how I felt during that time and all the different things that we were doing, and I don't have that, and I wish that I did. And so all I can do is start now and share this now. It's still one of those things where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wow, this is really what I'm gonna do today. Like, my day is to get coffee, write a few chapters, or edit, or whatever the case is, and that's what I get to do. I don't have to go to work and deal with egomaniacs or people who are complete douchebags or those who like to talk down to women or anything like that. And that's how corporate was. That's exactly how corporate was. And I could deal with it because I'm a very strong-willed person. I have a very strong personality. I understand that. I am not for everyone. I get it. Some people just don't like me, and I mean, I can't help that. I can't help the way that I am. And, you know, there's people online who don't like me because I am the person that I am in real life online. And that's fine. Everybody can have their opinion. In the corporate world, when you're a woman and you have my type of demeanor, it's really easy for people to look at you, especially men, and say, you're too assertive. You are too this. You shouldn't have done that. They want to fit you into a mold because you are female. And I dealt with that for a decade of my life. Recently, I was going through my videos in my phone because sometimes I'll vlog things and I never share it with y'all. I just want to record the moment and how I really feel. And I was in absolute tears. I was so angry, and like, even now when like I think about it after I watched that video, like, it pisses me off all over again. But I watched this video from January of 2019 and I'm just legit upset. I might put it in this video. I haven't actually decided yet. I've got stories upon stories upon stories about how working corporate made me miserable. And I'm sure that it's not every corporation. I'm sure that it's not like that everywhere, but the industry that I was in, which was refining, is male dominant, and a lot of those people think that women should be at home being a wife and not in the workplace, and you shouldn't be assertive and you shouldn't talk to men the same exact way that they talk to you, because then you're crossing the line. But it's okay for you to be degraded and talked down to, and I don't accept that kind of rhetoric. I don't accept it in my real life, and I don't accept it online. That's just who I am. This month I've had a lot of time to just really think about what corporate was like and how that was my dream at one point in my life. But then it quickly changed, and I realized that I am not made for that type of setting unless I'm in charge. And I was in charge for a little while, but I still reported to people who were very ego-driven. And that's hard for me because I don't stroke egos in my real life, and I don't stroke egos online either. I've just had a lot of time to think about that and think about how I felt during that time in my life, during that long, prolonged decade of my life. And I'm just so grateful that I don't have to deal with that anymore. I don't have the same stress and the same anxiety and the same weight on my shoulders that I did in 2019. And that makes me so grateful. With that whole tangent out of the way, there's a lot of things that me and Brooke did as Kennedy Fox in the month of October, and I made a list because I don't want to forget. One of the big things is our older books were starting to rank on Apple. They were like top 100 on Apple, the Checkmate Duet series. And I know that the book has been out for 4 years, but the reality is people still love it and enjoy it, and we are still proud of those books. And I was just shocked that people found it, word of mouth happened, and then we organically sold a bunch of books. It was incredible. Because of that and people just going through our backlist, we now have 27 books, I believe, along with releasing a book this month, which was Wrangling the Cowboy. That was our I should have counted. I think it was book number 28. We had one of the most successful months in Kennedy Fox history. In October, we made more money than we've ever made, ever in the history of this pen name. And that feels really freaking good. We had some really fantastic months closer to the beginning when we were making USA Today and people were just binging entire series and like going through our backlist, and we just had really great sales months. And this month in October has topped that. I am shocked. Like, I could literally go out in January and pay cash for a new car. I could literally go do that. Will I? No, because I don't need a new car. My car is fine. I don't need anything. So that money gets to go into savings. That is just, I'm shocked. And when me and Brooke discussed it, I was like, wait a second, we're actually going to pass up our largest month ever this month in 2020, which I have said has been a complete dumpster fire. But I believe this entire year with Kennedy Fox will be the most money that we've ever made. There's a bunch of different factors. We now have more books. I am now home as a full-time author, so we got to add an extra book into our release schedule, which we probably would have never been able to do if I wouldn't have quit my job. We've just tried different things, and me and Brooke are having a really good time, like coming up with different strategies and things that we can do to push our name, and discussing promos and different sells and just marketing ourselves in a way that's not just completely up in your face. And it's worked out really well for us. And I'm completely just blown away and happy. I could have quit my job and this all could have backfired in my face, but I had faith that we would be financially successful, and I know how hard me and Brooke worked together, and so I knew that it wasn't going to fail. And when I look at those sales reports, I'm like, wow, it didn't fail. Like, this is actually working really well. This is working better than it ever has before. I can't say it's one specific thing. It's just a number of things that have been building that have now flourished, and me being home does help a whole lot. I feel like it's helped my mental health, which has totally like helped me and Brooke's relationship. And you know, we're there for each other and we're working really hard, and Kennedy Fox is supporting 2 households. I know for a fact that it's just gonna go up from here. In 2021, I have zero doubts will be 100 times better because we've got a solid plan. As long as we can get ahead with our writing, then we could essentially release audiobooks at the same time as ebooks, because you know it takes a long time for narrators to read that and produce it and all of that. So that's our goal, and I think that we'll be able to do it, and it's super exciting for me to discuss that with you all. A few other things that we did in October is we finished a short story that will be like a special newsletter builder that we're doing that will launch in November. I don't know if this video will be posted beforehand, but if it is, surprise, it's gonna be really great. It's Christmas stories, so if my video is up before then, whoops. But yeah, it's something that Brooke has basically spearheaded, and there's 2 different anthologies. It's all new stories. They're all 10,000 words or more, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited to see everybody's stories and see how it does. Newsletter builders with people in your genre are so beneficial. If you are an author who has a lot of friends that write the same type of things, like totally do an anthology newsletter builder. BookFunnel handles it all. It is a lot of work, not gonna lie, but for the most part, it's just making sure authors turn in what they're supposed to, and you have covers and the BookFunnel is all set up. And then it kind of works organically because everyone's sharing it. So that's just a promo idea to keep in mind if, you know, you're trying to build that newsletter. We also set up pre-orders for our books that released in September and October of 2021. For us, it's really important to go ahead and have those books up for pre-order because, guys, while rank is important and while it is kind of a factor to see how well a book is doing, we like to have our pre-orders. We're not concerned about making top 100 on Amazon the day of release. We'd rather be able to promo those books all year long and have people pre-order beforehand than to have tons of competition when the book releases, and you never know what's going on. Like, you could have this big author drop a book the week before and it just, everybody forgets about you. So pre-order we found very beneficial. Those books are up on all the websites. That's a plus. Another thing that happened in October is Barnes & Noble just imploded on itself. They had a hacker or something get into their system. It ruined our release date on their website. Like, people could not purchase our book. They canceled our pre-order. Then the pre-order was back up, and then we needed to change the price, and then we couldn't because it was locked down. And it was a complete and utter mess. And a lot of indies have been talking about it. I heard, I don't know if it's 100% factual, that it was a self-published author issue. Traditional publishers didn't really have the problem, but I'm not sure about that. I know that it was very stressful and our books are still not right in the back office, and I don't know when Barnes & Noble is going to be able to get it together. It's frustrating because we have future pre-orders for other books pending that just haven't been submitted that we wanted to share all the links to, which we can't. And then, like I said, the price change thing. I literally had to email them and be like, hey, Amazon is price matching $3.99, which was our release day special, and we cannot change it because our book is locked down and it says processing, but then it says live on the website. It was just a mess. I know Barnes is trying to keep us in their best interest and they didn't want this to happen either, but it was just extremely frustrating to have to deal with, especially the day of release. Like, that's when it happened. It was just really annoying and frustrating. But yeah, it's not the first time that they've had issues. Our pre-orders did eventually come through about 3 weeks later, but at that point, it's like, I'm glad we weren't rooting on Making USA Today because those sales did not hit our dashboard until, you know, 2.5 weeks later. So that's the thing about being a self-published author. You kind of just have to go with it. And if someone has an issue, then there's not really anything you can do but try to be patient. So yeah, we had a book release on October 13th. We had a good amount of pre-orders, which me and Brooke were happy about, and we don't really have any complaints. It's a long, interconnected series. I think it's going to be 9 or 13 books. I never can remember, but it did well and people really enjoyed our characters and enjoyed the story, and you know, we got reviews online and it ranked top 100 on Apple, and so it was very nice to see that people were really starting to jump in our Circle B Ranch series, and I think people are really starting to get hooked on the second generation of the Bishop brothers, and I truly believe next year it's just going to continue to grow. One thing that would be amazing is if we could make USA Today on this series, and I think that it's possible once we get further into it, because the more people read it, the more they want the other characters because they're all intertwined. And so next year we had changed our release schedule where we released 3 of those books back to back, and I'm really excited to kind of tell y'all how that goes. I think it'll be good releasing everything in the same world very close together, and so we're going to try out that instead of spacing it apart and having different series alternate throughout the year. So that's one thing to look forward to in 2021. Another thing we did is we plotted a book. We started writing said book. We should be done with that book sometime very, very soon, if we're not by the time this video is posted. And so that was a good thing. We had one of our audiobooks in October get approved that we had been waiting for 6 weeks. Audible right now, when you're self-publishing your audiobooks, guys, they're really behind. And I don't know why this took so long for them to approve. We haven't ever had any issues. We know that our quality is great because we hire professionals to do our audiobooks. It's just been taking a really long time. This year, me and Brooke decided that we were going to take over our own audios, that we were going to start producing them ourselves because we're making the money to be able to afford to do that. And our audiobooks sell really well, so we wanted to keep that money instead of selling them. So by the end of 2020, we should have all of our books in audio. 2021, we are solely taking care of our audiobooks. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And so far, like, it's been a really good thing. We had Hitching the Cowboy release an audio in September, I believe it was, or maybe it was August, and we have already made our expenses back on that. So now whatever we sell from this point on is profit. So that always feels really good to know that you spent X amount of dollars and you've made that, so now you can actually make money on it. And it's a forever thing. So if you're into producing your own audiobooks, I'd recommend it, but just be aware that it is expensive and it is kind of time consuming if you're going back and forth with narrators and things like that. It's been worth it, and I'm super excited to get the second book in the duet series back and submitted, and I think it's going to be really good for us to take over our own audio. The next thing is to take part in a vote anthology. That's one project that we signed up for in October. And last but not least, the biggest thing that we did in October is we hired a personal assistant. Yep, we did, because me and Brooke are so busy and we have so many books to write that it got to a point where we were doing things that it's easier to just train somebody and teach them how to do it so we can write. Because as authors, we make money by writing and publishing books. Me and Brooke pay our bills because of our books. There's nothing else. YouTube doesn't pay me. I mean, it's kind of like a joke how much money I get from YouTube, and I don't have like a side hustle. I don't have anything going on like this. The books, they pay the bills. And so we had kind of like a heart to heart, and we were like, we're doing these tasks that take us a lot of time, and if we didn't have to do those tasks, we could write more and we could get ahead and we could publish more books. And so it's worth it to us to pay someone to do those small things that we need done. And they're not all small. There's some things that she's doing and she's probably like, oh my God, they are so anal. We have a personal assistant now. We have a publicist. We have people doing all this stuff. And I'm so happy that we can afford to do this, because there was a point when I first started writing where I did everything myself, and I'd rather spend my time than to pay someone. Other than book covers and edits, that's two things I always paid for. But now we're at a point where it's like, hey, this is actually a business. This is a real thing and we need an assistant. And so we've got one. And she's great, and eventually she will probably move to a full-time status because we do a lot. Trust me when I say that this is something that me and Brooke work on every single day, and we have for 4 years. And so hiring an assistant to do those tasks that take up a lot of our time is 100% worth it. So worth it. And I can't wait until she's fully trained. She will be kind of like the third member of Kennedy Fox, because she will get to see really behind the scenes, like everything we do. And I know she's probably going to be like, y'all anal and y'all are crazy, because we are. And it took a little while for us to hire someone because we don't trust people easily. We've hired someone that we trust, that we've known for a few years, that's read our books. And I think it's going to be a really great thing that we have going, especially next year, because with our release schedule, we're going to need all the help that we can possibly get, because we got a lot of stuff going on. I think we have 9 books scheduled to release next year. We're going to be busy. The next thing that I always talk about is my Lyra Parish books. And guys, I knew the books needed a lot of work. That's why I unpublished them. And I know there are haters out there who are like, she sold sucky books to people. There was a point in my life where I was very proud of those books. And I know that my words today and the way that I write today is much different than what I wrote in 2013 and 2014. And if there is an author out there who has not grown of the last 6 years that they've been self-publishing, then there's an issue, because that means they've learned absolutely nothing. And that's not me. I can look at my work with a critical eye and go, wow, that is not my best work. Wow, I don't want that to be out there. Also, when I look at those books, I think I would be better off starting with a blank slate and taking the outline of those books and rewriting them than to try to manipulate those books into where I am today. And it's so difficult for me, and it's such a hard thing, because those were my books and they made me very happy. And now I'm at a crossroads where I don't know what to do. And I haven't talked about this at all. I know that I want to get them rewritten, but I also know that it's hard to shove a square piece into a circle. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do. I've thought so hard about it. I'm like, okay, so if I re-release these books, what's the point? Am I going to continue to write under Lyra Parish? And I've gone back and forth with this ever since I've unpublished them. And then finally, after I've had like a few camping vacations where I just sat out and stared into nothingness in the middle of nowhere, Texas, I was like, is it worth my time to rewrite the books? At this point, I don't think it is. And so I've really been contemplating just not republishing them at all, just leaving them off the internet. But there is a flip side to that. And the flip side is I have a bunch of books that are half written that are better than the books that I wrote in 2013 and 2014, that are more like the style that I write today. They're not in first person past tense, which is how I always wrote and published. These books are in first person present tense. And there's like 30,000 words in one. There's like 32,000 words in another. And my thought is, what if I finish those books and I move my pen name, Lyra Parish, to not be a self-published author, but to find an agent and to make this name a traditional published name? I'm going to go into detail in another video, because this is just something that I've been moving back and forth in my head like the last, I don't know, month or so. October really is when it struck me. And it just seems like the right thing to do. For me, I've always wanted to be a hybrid author. I've always wanted to be self-published, and I've always wanted to be traditionally published. And I know that there are people out there that are like, oh, you self-publish because you can't get traditionally published. That's totally BS. I'll make a full video about this explaining it more, but that's where my head is right now. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I reread like the first few chapters, and I was just like, this is a lot. I know that I would be better off just starting fresh. Probably get it done quicker, and it would be at like a better level all the way around if I did that. And I don't want to do that. Hopefully that makes sense. It's all in my head. It makes sense in my brain, but I don't know if I'm being clear on camera. So if I am not, please let me know. But I'm going to make a full video talking about this and what my plans are and stuff. So I know this video is getting long, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up. But when it comes to books, I didn't read anything. I started a few things. I started to read Bullet Journal Method, which is the actual book that everybody creates their bullet journals off of, because I love bullet journaling, but I've just kind of done research on the internet and never really read the book. I'm maybe like 40 pages in. Started some other things that I just couldn't get into, so I just stopped reading, and most of my months focused on trying to finish that short story and trying to jump into the book that we need to have written like yesterday. So it's November, it's NaNoWriMo month. It's like my favorite month as a writer. And there's so many cool things going on right now in the writing community. If you're not in my Write 10K in a Day group, I would like to encourage you to join. We've got 3 things going on in there right now. We've got the 10K in a Day sticker, we've got the 50K in a month sticker, and I have teamed up with Hello Lovely Box, and I'm giving away amazing prizes to people who just earn entries. It's no purchase or anything. It's open internationally. It's basically like things like, hey, log your words, be kind to people, post when you're writing, invite a friend to the group. Like, it's things like that, things that are super easy. And I've wanted it to be a community where we encourage each other. And, you know, we talk about our struggles and we talk about the positive and we talk about where we're stuck, or we talk about how we're going into editing hell and it just sucks. Mainly me. It's a really close-knit community, and I consider those people in that group my writer family. So Hello Lovely Box sent me a bunch of stuff, mugs, totes, zipper pouches, things of that nature that I will just randomly be drawing people who submit their entries, and you can win things. And I hope that it encourages people to write and to keep it up, because that's how you publish. You just keep writing. That's all I have today. I appreciate y'all for being here. I hope y'all have an amazing, incredible week. You accomplish all your goals and you write all the words, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye guys.